Hey everybody, welcome back to Card Curiosity. We were trying to find the best possible ways to make a good return on your investment in the sports card world. And today we're going to do another Rip It or Skip It video where we break down an upcoming release and try to decide if it's something that we should be getting our hands on or avoiding. And this is going to be a little bit out of left field here because we don't know much about the product, but it's kind of highly anticipated here. It's going to be Topps Chrome Labubu 10th anniversary edition, and if you haven't heard about this yet, you likely will tomorrow. I'm recording this on October 19th, and the release date is the 20th. So I wanted to get this out before the release time so you can kind of maybe think about this a little bit and not get caught by surprise. So, you know, for many of us, it might be a super easy decision to not jump into this or to jump into it because maybe we don't necessarily follow Labubu much. I certainly don't, but it could be a product that has some high demand and therefore maybe could be flipped. So before we jump in, just a reminder, our criteria that we look for when we kind of analyze these products, we want to consider four things. One is the price. We want to make sure we can get our hands on it for a good deal. It's not going to cost too much. Second is the checklist, to make sure that the cards that are in the product are players or characters that we actually want. Third is the gradability. We need to make sure that these cards can be graded by PSA and have a good chance at getting a PSA 10. That's how you're going to make the most money when you buy products like this. And then finally, the last thing is the desirability or the relevance of the cards. Will they hold up over time? Will they be in demand for a long time? And that's what we're going to look at here. So once again, Topps Chrome Labubu 10th anniversary. Now this is going to be slightly different because there's a lot of information that we don't know as I'm recording this. One is going to be the price. So I'm going to talk about the price here a little bit. The product comes with only 4 base cards and 1 parallel. So 5 cards total plus a keyring case. Okay, and so I think they have maybe a picture of that case over here, and so you can display a card in your case here. So you're talking just 5 cards, and so we don't know what the price is yet. Topps has not told us, but basically, if it's more than $100, let's just assume $100. If it's $100, I'm gonna give it a 3. I can't imagine paying $100 just for 5 cards and thinking it's gonna be worth it. If these are somehow in the $50 range, then I would think I'd probably give it a 4 or 5. So that's kind of what we're going to look at. If it's anything over 100, I just will have a hard time believing that this is going to do very well, especially with only 1 parallel in it. You know, that could just be a refractor not numbered and things like that. So I'm going to guess right now the price is going to be a 3. I'm going to say Topps is going to price this around $80 to $100. That's a 3, in my opinion. Not too bad, not too good, but if it was around $50, I'm really going to be excited and we'd give it a 5. So that's what we'll do on the price. Second, we have to look at the checklist, and there hasn't really been anything publicly released here, and I'm not familiar enough with Labubu to know if there are certain monsters that are going to be in here and get their own little cards. Is there going to be 50 of them, 100 of them? How they're going to do this exactly? There could be different, combination card things like this and inserts. So it's all going to be very artsy and fun if you're into this kind of thing, I'm guessing. The question is how big of the demand will this be from the mass market? Is it going to be a very, very niche product that doesn't have too much opportunities? But you got refractor, 10th anniversary logo, border refractor, and superfractor as some possibilities in here. But again, we don't know exactly what cards are going to be here on the checklist side. So let's make some assumptions. If it's 50 characters, and some of them, let's assume some of them are more desirable than others. Like are there characters that are going to be the equivalent of like a Shohei Ohtani or an Aaron Judge that people want much more than others? That's going to be a question to try and figure out. Or are they all going to be kind of equal? And so we'll have to kind of see eventually what those look like. You can get autographs, which is pretty cool, artist autographs like that, and then there's of course the keychain card there. So assuming something in the 50-100 range, and there are characters that are more popular than others, my hunch is that this is going to be on the checklist side, a 3 to 4, and that's kind of the anticipation there. So we'll give it a 4 on this for now, And next, let's move on to the gradability. So on the gradability side, I am not very optimistic about this. Obviously, we don't get to see Labubu on a yearly basis, I don't believe, but we do see Topps Chrome for other non-sport things like Marvel and Disney. And Disney especially, we've opened a little bit of Topps Chrome Disney, and it has not looked very good, like completely terrible, really. And so right now the gem rate on Disney is 11%, which is completely awful. Or that's Disney Genesis. Regular Disney is at 25%, and I mean, if you open up a box of cards, you might find 2 or 3 cards that don't get covered by dimples and stuff. So I'm hoping that with Labubu, they figured out a way to make these cards not so terrible in terms of quality, but we won't know that yet until we get our hands on them. So I think we kind of have to assume that it's going to be tough to grade these cards, and so we're going to give the gradability a 2 out of 5 on that score. And next we'll move on to the desirability, which once again is going to be a little bit tricky to figure out because we don't have previous years to compare this to. But you know, when you think of non-sport cards, I think obviously Pokemon comes to mind as some of the most desired non-sport cards in terms of having an IP that lasts for many, many years, and you can continue to create and make money and collect, doing continuous things every year with Pokemon. Do we see this as a possibility with Labubu? I kind of don't think so. Again, I'm not super familiar with the stuff or the product in general, I guess the brand of it. But you know, if it doesn't have TV shows and movies and all kinds of other things that are like promoting and working in synergy to kind of get this thing off the ground and popular, then it's going to be a tough sell for this to, I guess, remain kind of top of mind for many, many years, versus it being somewhat of a fad here in the short term. So my hunch is it's going to lean more towards a fad, more towards something that we probably want to rip if you are, and rip, grade, sell pretty quickly. And I could potentially see if they don't print a ton of this, there being some demand for this a few years down the road, similar to like, you know, Beanie Babies went in and out. They were not necessarily cared about for a decade or two, and then they kind of come back. And so this could kind of be like that. If you sit on a few of these boxes for a few years, maybe longer, maybe there will be some popularity and desire for them down the road, much like there is certainly right now for Pokemon, the first generation of those cards. So I'm gonna lean more towards this being a fad, though. So we're gonna give it a 2. And if you add up all the scores, a price at 3, checklist 4, gradability 2, desirability 2, that gets us to 11 out of 20. And again, if the price is low and you think that these cards are going to be desirable, then I would recommend ripping this if you can. If you can get your hands on some. If the price is high and you don't think there's much staying power here, then you probably want to hold off. I think we're going to try to grab a few, just kind of test the waters with the market and see if there's anything there, see if it's something that we might want to stash away for a decent amount of time and just see how they look a few years down the road. Who knows? But hope you enjoy this. Hope this helps make your decision a little bit easier, and hopefully the pricing is not too crazy on Topps website tomorrow. So until next time, stay curious.